Welcome back to another episode of CMO Weekly. I'm your host, Hayley Clover, and this episode is brought to you by Open Fortune. Open Fortune is changing the marketing game by putting ads into fortune cookies and distributing them through Asian restaurants all over the world. In a world where consumers are seeing 3,000 to 5,000 ads a day, Open Fortune is helping burn your brand into their memory. So thank you to Open Fortune for making this episode possible. Today's guest is somebody that I'm super excited to talk to. She's shaping the way that the world sees crypto. She's making it accessible, engaging, and super fun. Her name is Olivia Santarelli. She's the global head of marketing at Gemini, one of the most recognized cryptocurrency platforms in the world. Since joining Gemini, she's led major brand campaigns, including the standout Go Where Dollars Won't, and helped grow a team that redefined how crypto stories are told. Before stepping into the Web3 space, she's worked for American Express and Anthropologie, and she's building a career that merges data, creativity, and heart. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Excited to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about your past experience in retail and some of those more maybe recognizable brands to, you know, a lot of folks, and how you've kind of merged that into a Web3 career.
Yeah. I started actually, I was an intern at Vogue in college. I was a fashion closet intern, and I just really loved fashion and editorial. But at the time they hadn't really caught up with digital yet. They were still very focused on the magazine. And so I knew that I wanted to be a little bit more digital focused, but loved fashion, loved my experience there. And then after college, I joined Anthropologie, which is a big retail company. And I joined, and I focused primarily on e-commerce. And so really wanted to be digital first. And so I was their blouse buyer for about 2 years, which was really fun for their online business. And yeah, loved fashion. But while I was there, I realized that what I really loved was sort of the creativity and combining the data, the budget planning with the fashion and with the creative elements. And so loved that experience, but felt like maybe marketing is more of an area where I can combine all of those passions at once and really manage a budget and understand the results of what I'm driving for the business. So shifted to a marketing role at American Express. I worked on their small business credit card team, and I managed paid search acquisition. So that was really fun too, and a completely different experience to go from fashion to a credit card company. But yeah, it was a great first marketing experience and really achieved sort of the data-driven insights type of work that I wanted to get into.
Right.
I was there for about 3.5 years and loved my experience there, but what I really realized was I was not really growing the business as much as I wanted to. I think Amex is such a huge company, and so you're sort of trying to optimize towards 1% growth or 2% growth, and I had a lot of agencies that I was working with, and I really wanted to learn how to do the work myself and drive a lot of growth for the business that I was working at. So I decided to join a startup, and around that same time I had been learning about Bitcoin, and I had read the Bitcoin white paper. I had read a couple books about Bitcoin, and so I was sort of okay, I'm ready for another transition, learning something totally different, and I joined Gemini. I was their third marketing hire, and I've been there for 6 years in a few different types of roles, starting in customer marketing, which was really fun.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I feel for a lot of people it'd be scary to jump into a role like that where it feels there's so many layers of learning that has to happen to really feel comfortable in the space. Did you have that feeling in the beginning, or you kind of just really enjoyed it and kept, reading and learning?
I think all of my career transitions so far have been just this hunger to learn and wanting to completely shake things up.
Yeah.
And so I went into all of these roles, and Gemini in particular was I knew on day one I wasn't going to know much of anything, and as long as you sort of have an open mind and a willingness to ask questions, you can sort of learn a lot more that way than staying in maybe your niche area. So, and I feel I've been really grateful that Gemini is somewhere where you can learn and grow and try different things, and it's sort of like, let's see what works. There's such an experimental mindset, and you don't necessarily have that everywhere, but I think it's important to find somewhere.
Be comfortable in the uncomfortable. That's definitely where you grow.
Yeah.
For sure. So you were talking about customer marketing. How hard is that when especially in an industry that has a lot of regulations? How do you get around, I guess, those heavy regulations while still being able to bring in that creative side of you that you bring from all that other experience?
Yeah, there's a huge opportunity to be creative, especially in crypto, because you're sort of educating people about this entirely new industry.
Yeah.
And so it's everything we created was essentially like net new from scratch. There was no foundation for like, oh, we did this a year or two ago and this works, so let's do it again. It was sort of like starting over, and it is a regulated environment. And like one of the reasons why I chose Gemini was because we are like compliance first. I wanted to work at a US exchange that focused on compliance and security. And so that's always been like a part of what we do, but it's never like blocked us from doing things. And I feel like the legal and compliance teams at Gemini have always been like incredible partners, and like those are the people that we go to first when we have questions about creative. And it's always just like, how can we position this to make sure we're providing people with enough information, but it never feels like I can't be creative.
Right. Yeah. When we're thinking about before we dive into more marketing stuff, will you tell folks a little bit more about Gemini specifically and like what it is? It's a massive exchange, and so I know a lot of people have heard about it, but just a little tidbit so that the folks that don't, know what it is can learn a little bit more.
Yeah, Gemini was founded almost 10 years ago now by Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. It's a New York-based company. You can buy, sell, store Bitcoin and 70 other currencies on Gemini. We also have the Bitcoin credit card, which I'm really excited about. It's what we're here at this conference promoting.
Amazing.
And so you can earn up to 4% back in Bitcoin. So it works just like any other credit card product. But instead of earning points back that are devalued over time, you can earn Bitcoin back. And customers on average have earned about 176% on their Bitcoin rewards when they're held for over a year. So the customers are really happy with the appreciation of their rewards over time. And so we're happy to be here talking about that this week.
That's so cool. So let's talk a little bit about the launch of this new card and the marketing that surrounded that. Is today in this conference the first time that you all are showing the product and
Yes.
everything? Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, we have a couple of cards on display. One of them is my card, so I have to remember to get it back before the.
Look at my.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have the number on the back.
Smart.
So it's like a security first card, which is a really important feature to us. So I'm okay with it being here. I just have to remember to pick it up. But yeah, it is one of our first big moments with the product. We launched it about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And so this is like our first time really talking to customers about it and getting a sense of like their excitement and questions that they have.
Yeah, that's great. So what other types of marketing are going to be done with the new card? Is it a lot of digital? Is it experiential? And then I have a follow-up question for you after that.
Yeah, a little bit of both. In November, we launched a campaign called Go Where Dollars Won't. And it was really the first time our brand has like started to market again. We had been pretty quiet throughout the bear market. We had been really focused on like building an organic community, really focused on SEO, our website, sort of like the unpaid organic side of marketing. And then this campaign in November was the first time that we went out there with paid social, out of home. And so it was like a really fun moment for the team. And this is now sort of a continuation of that, I think. Like, we really wanted to build on top of that. I feel like the November launch was sort of we created a foundation or a playbook for how we want to run campaigns, and out-of-home plays a really important role in that. And so this launch, we did all of that, plus now a little bit more experiential customer events. We're thinking a lot about how to improve our referral program. So just really trying to capture a wider audience across all of the channels.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this is the first time you get to talk to consumers about it. Is that a reason why out of home and experiential is something that you all love? Because you take that customer feedback and then, really take that to heart and make some changes if needed?
Yeah, totally. And I think out of home and experiential like this is really important to build out our brands. We don't have a huge brand awareness still. We have a large brand awareness within the crypto community, but a lot of people outside of crypto don't know about Gemini. And so out of home plays a really important role in showcasing our brands to a wider audience and getting them to think about the role that Bitcoin and crypto can play in their lives. And so we just have really simple messaging, earn Bitcoin, not points. And it's just, catering to people who are thinking about investing in crypto.
Jumping in.
Yeah, sort of like this crypto curious audience, we call them.
I love that.
Yeah. We love this crypto curious crowd that's considering investing for the first time and really trying to hone the message with our out of home and with a lot of our paid social towards them.
Yeah, how do you talk to that crypto curious consumer and then also at the same time, the consumer that knows everything about crypto and is really tech savvy, and how do you balance those two messages? That's kind of got to be a bit hard.
Yeah. Two completely different audiences, and we love them both equally, of course. But we used to focus a lot on education, and so we still do write a lot of educational content. But I think that right now it's more of a focus on just simple messaging. I don't want to necessarily confuse the crypto curious crowd with a lot of the technical jargon or the advanced trading features. I want it to just be very simple, what is the value that Bitcoin can provide in your life today? And so that's what we're trying to do with the credit card messaging, whereas we do have more of an advanced trader crowd as well. But that message is more on crypto native platforms like X, where we talk more about specific advanced features.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And does Gemini have education that people can, read and find? And so if this happens to be the first place that they find you all is your own website?
Yes, we have a website called Cryptopedia, cryptopedia.com, and we create a ton of educational content for people about specific crypto tokens, different security features, and just more about the industry. So that's really a great place to go if you're thinking about getting into crypto and you're just not really sure where to start. And then you can learn more about it there, and then hop into crypto Twitter or X now,
and then really go down a deep dive.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you could be there for hours. It's nonstop. That's fun. Okay, cool. So the Go Where Dollars Won't campaign, how did you all come up with that slogan, and what is the actual meaning behind it? If you can explain a little bit about, how Bitcoin can work in some ways that, your regular cash does not.
Yes, for us, this was a really important moment for the brand to just reestablish ourselves in the crypto market and to, a more crypto curious audience. It took probably 4 months to come up with the campaign,
okay.
But we love sort of the sci-fi genre. We love, thinking about the future and how can crypto play a role in your future, and what does that future look like? And I think a lot of times the future can feel sort of scary or robotic, and what we really wanted to create was something totally different from that. We wanted to create scenes of really fun experiences on Earth that can be done on Mars, like a safari on Mars or a carnival on the moon. And so we really wanted to show people that in 50 or 100 years when we're traveling through outer space, it can be this really fun thing, and you will be using Bitcoin to pay for your purchases. And so the idea there was just to show people how they can live their lives in the future in a positive way.
That's so fun. It's so true. I mean, the future, crypto in general is growing so quickly, and I do feel even within my own circles, I'm hearing so many people wanting to learn more, trying to adopt things, or even if they maybe have purchased a few, in a wallet at some point because their friend said so, they're I should probably understand why I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And so I think the more education that there is and that simple messaging that gets people excited, the more people that will hop on board.
And we intentionally didn't want to put crypto or our product in the center of the campaign. We really wanted it to be about the experience and sort of this emotion that you feel when you look at it. We had an artist, Matt Griffin. He created all of the drawings for Dune, or a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah, he's an incredible artist, and he hand drew all of the scenes. And so we really wanted it to be something where we're not talking about crypto, we're talking about people's lives in the future. And we actually say the word crypto like very small in the bottom. And that was intentional because we just want it to be like this beautiful moment for the brand where you really think about the future and you keep coming back to the image and seeing different things.
Connecting emotionally, and it doesn't have to be, something that immediately has a stigma or some type of, opinion connected to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
To turn people off right away. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the future of Gemini, what do you see for Gemini in the next year, 2 years?
I'm really excited about our credit card products that we're here this week with, the Bitcoin credit card.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something that just brings in millions of more people to the crypto ecosystem. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it's a low risk way, not financial advice. It's just like an easier way, I guess, to get into crypto. You just earn Bitcoin back on everyday purchases. You don't have to time the market. You don't have to worry about what the Bitcoin price is doing. You can just sort of invest with everyday spending. So I'm really excited about that. Separately, I'm really excited about our European expansion. We went live in France at the end of November.
Amazing, congrats.
Thanks, yeah, it's been really fun. And we were in Paris for Paris Blockchain Week a couple weeks ago and got to meet a lot of customers there. And so I'm super excited about, bringing the Gemini product to more customers in Europe as well.
Have you done many global expansions like that in your career?
Yes, but not to that extent.
Okay.
We've always become licensed and regulated before launching in a market, but we have had some launches in the past. We launched in the UK, I think in 2020. So there were similar moments, but nothing as big as this. So this was by far the biggest. Yeah.
It's really exciting. Yeah, a big undertaking, but also what an amazing challenge to be able to, kind of dive into. If there was one reason why you would tell people to use Gemini over, maybe one of your competitors, what is it that stands out about Gemini?
I think our customer support is unparalleled. We have incredible support staff and people who really care about every customer and every issue that they are experiencing. And so I think that really it's our customer support. A lot of people are here with us this week talking to customers and sort of resolving any questions on the spot. And so I think just that really deep care and concern for each and every user, regardless of their account balance, I think sets us apart.
Yeah, that's so important too. You have to feel comfortable where you're putting your money and your trust, and having good people around is so.
Totally. And you want to have somebody that, responds to your emails and somebody that you can connect with. And we get a lot of messages on X. And so it's important that, we always respond and maintain those relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many comments on X and places where you can chat. I have to imagine the team that's working on that is nonstop oh my God. Oh my God, more messages.
And now we're focused on Reddit too.
Okay.
I'm super excited about Reddit. I think there's huge opportunity there. And so now it's okay, can we repeat this on Reddit?
I love Reddit.
Yeah.
And I know Open Fortune, our sponsor, does too. We've had conversations in the past because people will post fortune cookie slips and stuff there. And then it's crazy the engagement that you can get on Reddit and the rabbit hole that you can go down, just like X. But it's a cool community too. And it has a lot of influence, in my opinion, because you feel like you're not being sold to from an influencer. It's regular people that are using these products and talking. So yeah, I completely agree. There's a massive opportunity to be able to have the conversation about Gemini in that place.
Yeah, it's two different types of conversations that are happening between X and Reddit.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, I would love to get into some of our rapid fire questions if that's okay. So we just want to learn a little bit more about you. But this actually wasn't even a question, but during my research, I saw that you had a Bernedoodle.
Yes.
I am a dog mom also. I have a husky, and I'm like obsessed. I've been gone from him from 2 days, and I'm like, I wonder how he's doing.
Oh my gosh, do you ask for pictures from the boarding place?
I got some earlier.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to, yeah. I'm a Rover fan.
Yeah.
He has a girlfriend who's a poodle, and they love each other, so I don't feel bad about leaving it. But okay, well, we'll talk dogs after. Rapid fire questions. So this is just like first thing that comes to your head, just to learn more about you. So, okay. Person, dead or alive, that you'd most like to sit down to dinner with?
I would have to say my dad. He passed away a year and a half ago, so if I can sit down to dinner with him again, I would love that.
It's a fantastic answer. Your favorite city in the world?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, so I think I'd say Cleveland.
Hell yeah, I love that. I'm from Buffalo, so I'm like small town girl. I love it.
Yeah.
So we're taping in Vegas. Do you gamble? If so, what game are you playing?
No, I don't gamble. I played the slot machines a couple times in my life, and I'm not cut out for it.
The easiest way to lose money, but they are so fun.
Yeah. I love to watch other people gamble, but I am not a participant.
Fair. In 30 years, what do you think people are going to be nostalgic about?
I think just like connecting with people one-on-one rather than online.
Yeah, fair. What's the worst advice that you've ever been given?
I feel like people always say like bring things up, or like, oh, you should say something, or I feel like sometimes not everything needs to be said right away. Like you don't have to share feedback all the time about something in the moment. Like I think taking things away and like processing and finding like a less reactive way to say things is better advice.
Start communication strategy. I love that. That's a good leader's answer. Let's see. Oh, if your team had to describe your vibe or your energy via a cocktail, what cocktail would you be?
Maybe a Cosmo.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you're fun, little free, and but a classic at the same time.
Yeah,
love that. Do you have any totally random skills or hobbies that have nothing to do with your job that you love?
I love to run.
Yes.
So I live in New York City, and so I run in Central Park a lot with my dog. So yeah, I love to run.
We have a lot of team members, and David that you were speaking with, he has run the New York Marathon a bunch, but there's a few of them on the team. Yeah, that's great. What's one thing that your past self, let's say 10 to 15 years ago, would be shocked to learn about your life today?
Maybe that I'm in crypto, and then I've now worked in crypto for 6 years almost. Just because 15 years ago it wasn't even around.
Right.
So yeah, I think just the category that I work in.
Amazing. And last question, are there any marketing teams or products that you're just loving their marketing strategy right now that everybody should watch out for?
I love Liquid Death. They do an amazing job, super out-of-the-box marketing. I've always loved Red Bull, and we really try to like channel that like energy in Gemini. How can we be different, think outside the box, do things that's totally different from other exchanges.
Yeah. I love that. If people want to find Gemini and learn more, where can they find you?
You can go to gemini.com/card to learn more about the Bitcoin credit card. And I'm on X, OM Santarelli.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. It was really nice to talk to you and just learn a little bit more about, the new card, which sounds really fantastic. And the booth happens to be like right next to here, so I'm going to go learn more about it. But yeah, it was great to meet you, and thank you for coming on the show.
Of course, man.
And thank you to Open Fortune for making the episode possible, and we will see you next time.